This was his first date, and boy was Chaim nervous. Although he grew up with 3 sisters, what did he know about girls? Chaim had brand new pants and a crisp white shirt on. He was so nervous he was having trouble breathing and had begun biting his nails again. Chaim wondered if marriage was even worth all the trouble. He reasoned that if this is how nervous he was to go out on a date, imagine how crazy marriage itself was going to be. Chaim remembered the mitzvah to get married and have children. As the Rambam wrote so many thousands of years ago, the mitzvah of being fruitful and multiplying is incumbent upon the husband and not on his wife. When does a man become obligated to fulfill this mitzvah? From the time he reaches 17. If he reaches 20 and is not married, he is considered to have transgressed and negated the observance of this positive commandment. If, however, he is occupied with the study of Torah and absorbed in this endeavor, and is hesitant of marrying, lest he be forced to work to support his wife, and thus be prevented from studying Torah, he is permitted to delay marriage. For a person who is occupied in the performance of one mitzvah is freed from the obligation to perform another. Surely this applies with regard to the study of Torah. Well, Chaim was going to a point where his rabbis had told him he had studied sufficient Torah to start dating, and that family life wouldn't impinge on his learning to an adverse point. A part of Chaim wanted to rely on a different statement of the Rambam. When a person's soul desires to study Torah at all times, and is obsessed with its study as was Ben Azai, and clings to it throughout his life without marrying, he is not considered to have transgressed. Shimon ben Azai was a Talmudic master in the 2nd century beyond compare, and was well known for his scholarship as much as for his refusal to marry. Ben Azai was married to his texts and studying, and no wife could pry him away. But Chaim knew that he was no Ben Azai. Chaim remembered a Musar Shmuz he attended years ago from the Mashkiach of his yeshiva. It was the beginning of the new Zman, and the Mashkiach was talking about that week's Sedra Bereshis. The topic of his talk was marriage and the need for a spouse. The topic was centered around the well-known pasuk in Bereshis. God said it isn't good for man to be alone. I will make him a helper opposite him. The Mashkiach said that many understood the verse as addressing man's personal growth. To grow, the common thought goes, man needs a spouse to both help him when he's on the correct path and stand opposite him when he's on the wrong path. The Mashkiach said there was a completely different outlook on this pasuk. As opposed to addressing man's personal growth, it addressed the impression man left on others by not marrying. In his commentary on this pasuk, Rashi wrote that if man had been created alone, without a mate that he could reproduce with, skeptics could say that there are 2 gods. There is a controlling God in the heavens, and he has no mate, and a God who controls the world we know, and likewise he has no mate. That's man. In choosing life with a partner, we are showing how we are different than God. Although it's a stretch to say that single people speak to a heretical notion of polytheism, it isn't far to say that when a person marries, they are affirming their conviction in one God. Under the chuppah, husband and wife are declaring that to progress, they need each other. God needs nothing, neither progression nor a partner. Therefore, the act of marriage acts as a statement of conviction of God's existence. With this in mind, Chaim continued on his way to his first date. Shabbat Shalom.